friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm, and we are finally in February. We made it through the longest month of the winter. Well, sometimes March can get there, but January typically is the coldest month of the year for me here in upstate New York, zone 4B. It's also when I start to really get excited because seed starting is just around the corner. But this video today, I want to talk to you guys about my ranunculus. So ranunculus is something I'm really hoping to do even better at this year. I had my first semi-successful year last season with ranunculus, but I didn't get the big, bold blooms that I've been waiting years for. So I'm hoping that this hoop house that I have new this season will be the key to my success in the ranunculus department. So last season I had a little bit of success. Like I said, I had beautiful flowers, but to me, they were a little short and the buds, the blooms themselves were not as big as they could have been. So I'm really hoping that I will be able to knock them out of the park this year. So the first thing I want to do is talk to you guys about the varieties that I'm growing this year. And last season, I did a really detailed how to start ranunculus video with a couple of flower friends of mine. I'll link that video up above, but I also am making a couple of changes to how I'm starting them this year. So I'll talk about that a little bit later on. First though, here are the varieties that I'm growing, and there are 17 of them. Now last season I grew mixes. I'm moving away from growing mixes and I'm growing more specific colors. I am still growing a few mixes, but I am growing more individual colors so I actually know what I'm going to be getting here on the farm. Okay, so the first variety I want to talk to you about is called Half Clone Marshmallow. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna say every single one of these is beautiful because that's just the case. So I'm gonna be very repetitive here. The next one I'm gonna talk about, La Belle Champagne. This is gonna go quick, guys. La Belle White. Super Greens mix. This is one of a couple mixes that I'm trying, but I also pulled out a Super Greens cream to try to get a more specific color on the cream end. I really love that white cream with that green center. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Moving on, we have Barbie, Amandine Barbie, Pastel Lemon, and according to Florette's website, which is not where I purchased these, but this is her picture. According to her website, the Pastel Lemon has not only the beautiful yellows and lemonade colors, but it also has some apricot hues, so I'm looking forward to that as well. And this is another Florette picture. The cream color she describes as less cream and definitely more on the yellow side. So that's just gorgeous. And then we have La Belle Chocolat, so chocolate color, which is like a really deep red, and then La Belle Dark Orange. I love the dark hues in with all of the pastel stuff. I just think it makes them pop. And then we have the TECOLOTE White. So an interesting story behind the name of this variety is that these were bred in California, and they were bred, started in the 1940s, and they were just, you know, picking out their favorites and pollinating their favorites because a ranunculus was a single petaled flower when it came here from the Mediterranean decades ago. So they were bred to look like this. They didn't naturally have all these doubled petals and peony-like flowers. But at this particular farm in California, this man was breeding them and just kind of fine-tuning this beautiful double flowered look. And what the name TECOLOTE came from is apparently in the field where they were breeding and growing these, they had a lot of owls in the field that lived there. Tecolote means owl in Spanish, and that is where the name Tecolote ranunculus came from. I absolutely love little stories that connect like the history of the names like that, so I thought you guys might find that interesting. Okay, so for TECOLOTE, I have the TECOLOTE White, the TECOLOTE PICOTEE. PICOTEE is this variegation and absolutely gorgeous. Multiple different variations of color in this one. I'm really hoping that these ones are successful. The TECOLOTE Flamenco, this is like fire. Let's just call it what it is. It is an orange and red, even like hints of pink, just beautiful. The TECOLOTE Salmon, which obviously is a beautiful pink salmon color. And here we have the TECOLOTE Pastel, which is a grouping. Yes, it's a mix, but this mix I felt was worth it. It's got the beautiful lavender and the salmons and the pinks and even those creamy whites in there as well. Two more varieties to tell you about. This last one here, oh, this darkness just gets me. It's kind of like the Queen of the Night tulip, where it's that black that you just don't expect in a flower. So this is called AMANDINE Black. I saved my favorite for last, and this one, I think it's pronounced CHAMALLOW. Breathe in this beauty. I cannot. If I even get anything that closely resembles these flowers this year, I'm going to be a happy person. So I actually have the 17 varieties. I have 100 of each. So I have a total of 1,700 ranunculus that I'm hoping to put in the hoop house this year. And let's go downstairs and show you the ones that I already started and the ones that I'm about to start. Okay, so here I am in my garage, and I just have a plug tray, just a flat tray, 1080. I have put a layer, I don't know, about an inch of pre-moistened, any sort of medium. Pro Mix, I use my Vermont compost, anything that you can put in here. And now this is a little bit different than what I did for the majority last year. Last year I used 72 plug trays, and then I ran out of 72 plug trays, and I did the last few in these. And this I found allowed the roots to be a little bit more free. And I found that when I transplanted them from the 72 plug trays, the roots were kind of really, really tightly bound together. But the ones that I grew in these trays where the roots had room to move, the root system was much happier and transplanted much better overall. So I decided to do them all in these. I'm not saying that the 72 plug tray method is not working for people, but I will say that I don't know exactly when I'm going to be able to get these outside. So if these end up being in these trays for a little bit longer than I anticipate, at least I know they won't get root bound in here. I can't even tell you how much easier it was to separate the roots and just plant them out. It was really beautiful. Anyway, so this is what I have. These have been soaking, drip, 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 for 4 hours at least. It might even be 5, in a 5-gallon bucket with a trickle of water. And whoop, this is just an organza bag that I use to cover the dahlias. I label it with a piece of broken blind, literally a kitchen blind that I had that was broken. I just cut them into small pieces and they become my plastic tags. And I use a marker, a garden marker, to label it and put it in, and then I'll put it right in here too to label. Okay, so these are the Super Greens Cream, and I'll show you the difference before and after soaking, which I do have a detailed video on this. Basically, so here are, I would guess, similar sized corms. So this is the dried version that I had before, and this is after it's been soaking for several hours. Okay, so these came to me in the mail with my tulips and stuff in the fall. So I just kept them in the paper bags. They're stapled shut. I kept them in a bulb crate down in the basement, and I think it was 35% humidity down there and 65 degrees. So that's where they've been storing for months, and they're fine. So now I'm just going to put these in the plug tray, and I'm just putting them maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch apart. They're not going to be in here for that long. So this is actually my second set of ranunculus. I did start some about 10 days ago, and I just went and pulled one of the corms to show you guys what it looks like 10 days later. So here it is clearly putting on some roots. And here we have two beautiful, oh, there's a third coming, little shoots that are coming out from the top. Now the plan is to get these in the hoop house as soon as I can get in there and work the ground and get the compost in, because I have compost coming on delivery. So I'm guessing by the end of February, I will have that. So the longest I think that these would be in their trays is about 4 weeks, and that's okay. Last year I had some in there for about 6 weeks, maybe even longer, but everything kind of, plants are resilient and they bounce back more than I think people give them credit for. In fact, they're supposed to be not hardy in my area, and I have local farms close to me who tried overwintering these over the fall, and I think they might be successful. The plants are looking good, and we go down to -25. So I think with some extra added protection that maybe we can do this in the fall and get even earlier blooms, because everyone's goal around here is to have ranunculus for Mother's Day, really, because Mother's Day is a tough thing for us if we don't have tulips and stuff like that. So ranunculus is kind of something that we're hoping will come in and make a big old Mother's Day surprise. So I like to let these sit for like 10 days without covering them, because I like to see if there are any duds, if there's any mold growing on them, whatever. And then I will cover them. It's okay to cover them right away. I just like to keep an eye, and I get excited when I see signs of life. So you can cover them if you want, no problem at all. So I'm going to finish getting these going, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on my ranunculus this season, and I'm so excited to try out the hoop house, and hopefully I'll have some success this year. Yay! Thanks guys for sticking around. We'll see you soon. I already know I'm gonna get a question about where I put these. I just put them on the top of my grow light shelves down in the basement. 65 degrees. I mean, you can go a little bit cooler than that. You can keep them in the garage. They don't need light right away. Like I said, all of those detailed information are on a ranunculus video that I posted last year. So if you're interested, click the link. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. Look at that baby. She's good. It's an octopus tentacle-like thing. Click the link. It's TECOLOTE.